Welcome to Turn Writing Fear Around podcast. Simple methods to overcome fear and start writing again. I'm Elise Hittinger, and I'm the host for your Journey to Courage. Today's episode 20, Navigating Your First Rides. I love this topic. The the problem with fear and anxiety is that first ride. Getting back on after you've let some time go by. And so I'm going to put this into 3 steps: understanding the emotions, preparation for getting on, and setting realistic expectations. So when I started writing again out of the arena, that was the challenge for me. I didn't have a problem jumping, but I couldn't go on a trail ride. There was just no way I was going on a trail ride. My accident happened at a camping ground, and there was just the fear was so huge outside the arena. So my first rides back, I took 4 steps. And I have to tell you, there were tears. I was in joy. I smiled for a week. I took 4 steps. Oh man, it felt so good. So let's talk about understanding the emotions. So as you're going to get on for your first ride back, you're going to have a lot of emotions come up. And what I want you to do is I want you to pull the good emotions. Keep pulling those good emotions in. Keep pulling the, wow, I've had so many amazing rides. Oh my gosh, I love to ride. Pull in that passion. Understand that your emotions are in your control. You can control how great you feel getting back in the saddle. Think of how wonderful you're going to feel when you get off after you've taken your 4 steps or whatever it is for you. Stay in that feeling of joy, and it'll make getting on so much easier. So much easier. Now, I want to talk about preparation. I want you to make sure, whatever you have to do, whatever trainers you need to get help from, I want you to make sure that your horse is solid for mounting. It's so important to make sure that your horse stands there quiet, ready to go. If you're having to deal with your emotions and you're having to deal with your horse's emotions at the same time, it can really throw a monkey wrench in the gear. And it can cause more issues than even before. So if you've got to take a week, 2 weeks, if it takes you an hour, work with your horse or have a trainer work with you and your horse. And I say have a trainer work with you and your horse because you want to make sure it's you and your horse in a partnership for mounting. Now, I also always suggest a mounting block. For me, that gives me the most options to get on, get back off. And so I suggest a mounting block, tree stump, truck bed, whatever you have, at least for your first rides back, because it gives your horse a frame of reference and it gives you a frame of reference that getting on from the ground doesn't necessarily give you. So make sure you're prepared to mount and make sure your horse is prepared to be mounted. The other thing I like to do is right before I get on, I wiggle my horse back and forth and make sure they're standing ready for my weight. Make sure they spread their feet out a little bit. That also helps them to stay quiet when I get on. So just prepare your horse, prepare yourself for mounting. And then the third thing is to set realistic expectations. If you haven't ridden and you have fear, pick what it is for you that's realistic. For me, it was 4 steps. It might be 10 steps. It might be a 50-foot ride. It might be an hour trail ride for you. Whatever it is for you, you want to make sure your first ride back, you go just to the edge of your comfort zone, but don't go over the edge of your comfort zone. For your first few rides back, stay in your comfort zone. You're going to have to get on. So that may be outside of your comfort zone already. And you're going to have to take some steps. And that may be out of your comfort zone. But set your expectations to where you will be successful. You want to make sure you have something you can cheer about, something to celebrate. Celebrate that you did it. So, the 3 tips for today: understand your emotions and make them as positive and joyful as you can before you get on. Make sure you're prepared for mounting and your horse is prepared for mounting. And then set realistic expectations. Make sure you're not trying to go to the moon on your first ride back on your horse. If you've enjoyed this podcast, I'd love to give you my 6 steps to making better choices. Sometimes we let the excuses of fear and anxiety stop us from riding or stop us from other things in our life. And I put together just a little workbook on 6 steps to making better choices so that we're consciously making choices in our life. See you next time.